Hey, everybody. Welcome back. As you could probably see from the title, I want to talk about masks. As this thing's progressing, there's so many things to talk about today, but I think we have to talk about masks again because it is ridiculous out there. And I can understand it, but I can't accept it. So I try to be very open, transparent, and honest. And I think that our authorities on what's going on right now should be as well. So, and when this first started, I went out and bought masks. So I have masks to wear. I wear masks when I fly, and I highly recommend other people do too when they're in a populated space. However, in the news, you will see an increasing message saying, don't wear masks. Masks are bad. So let me break down the logic that you're going to hear a lot of. You're going to hear that masks are ineffective. You're going to hear that only the sick people should wear masks. Oh, plus healthcare workers. And that's a very important point of the argument, that only sick people and healthcare workers should wear masks. Okay, so that's the basic argument. Anybody else, you shouldn't wear a mask. They say it will actually make it worse. It says they're saying that you will actually become, you'll probably get the virus more sooner if you wear a mask. So all of those are lies, total falsehoods. But let's break it down, right? Don't believe me. Let's just break it down and see what you think. So the first thing is only sick people should wear masks. So you don't have symptoms with this virus, with the coronavirus, which is the COVID-19, for up to 2 weeks. So, but you can spread it during that time, apparently. This is what I'm hearing, and this is what the news is reporting. So you don't know when you're sick. Nobody does. However, you are spreading it. So the argument of don't wear masks, only sick people should wear masks, and only healthcare providers should wear masks. The first thing there is, if you're not sick, don't wear it. You don't know you're sick, but you are, so you're not going to wear a mask because you're being told not to because you think you're not sick. That's crazy, right? Like, makes no sense. And then B, right? What was B now? B is if you're sick but you don't know you're sick, you don't want to wear a mask because you think that what you're trying to, you don't think that, what is the logic? I forgot what the logic there was. Maybe there's no B. Let's just stick with A, because A is pretty good, right? We just stick with A. Darn it, I forgot what B was. Anyway, let's move on. So only healthcare providers should wear a mask. Why? Why only healthcare providers? Yes, healthcare providers are very important. Yes, healthcare providers are a huge concern right now. Yes, healthcare providers in North America are unionized and won't go to work unless you give them a mask, because they could then die or at least get really sick. So yes, I agree, healthcare workers should wear a mask. However, it's ridiculous to say they're the only ones that should, right? Because if it's good enough for them, isn't it good enough for us, right? Oh, well, the argument now changes. So, well, because they are in such immediate contact with sick people on such a regular basis. Oh, okay. So in that case, it's not just your position in society that dictates whether you wear a mask or not. And it's not whether you're sick or not that dictates whether you wear a mask or not. It's your proximity and population density with sick people, right? Because I think that's what that means. So therefore, if I'm on the subway where we're packed shoulder to shoulder, denser population than in a hospital, and it's guaranteed statistically that there's people with the virus on the subway, wouldn't that qualify me to wear a mask in that argument? I think it would. I think I'm going to wear a mask. Okay. But hold on. They're not done their argument yet, because they're saying that masks are not effective to protect you from the coronavirus. What? Like, okay, so if that was true, which is obviously not, it's 80%, roughly based on the studies that are out there, 80% more effective, depending on what type of mask you're wearing. And I'm going to get to that. So nobody lose their mind yet. But go look up the studies. Again, don't believe me. Go do your own research. And don't believe the people that are just parroting what they hear from these authorities that are wrong. So, but okay, let's try to pretend that that sentence is actually, that premise is correct. So they're saying that, what was it now? Where was I? They're saying that masks are not effective for fighting the virus. So why would healthcare providers wear them then? Why would anybody wear a mask then, right? Oh, well, they're saying, well, so they're saying, well, this, I think what they're referring to then is the surgical mask, right? So they're saying, wow, those surgical masks are really for surgeons so that they don't spit their gum into your open chest cavity when they're doing open heart transplant or sneeze or cough or whatever. Oh, okay. So they're kind of like one way then, right? They don't protect anything this way. Is that what we're saying? Because that's not true. It's simply not true, right? So it's not like there's a check valve there that just, stops the spit going this way, but doesn't stop any spit coming this way. It's a physical barrier. Now, no, don't lose your mind just yet, because yes, some particulates of a certain size can go through those surgical masks. Absolutely. 100% effective? Of course not, right? More effective than doing this when someone sneezes into your yapper? Yeah, I would think so, right? More effective than when you're sleeping on the plane and you're drooling out the side of your mouth and your neighbor over here who's infected coughs all over you? Yeah, more effective. Yeah. So, I mean, basically, if you sleep with your arm over your face, it's more effective. But a mask would be great because it's not going to roll off your face, right? There's a reason why we sneeze into our arm, right? Is to contain those particulates. Does anything that goes over your face do that? Yeah, it actually does. Physics, actually, right? So are some better than others? For sure. Okay, but let's get to the, I know you're all like probably yelling at the screen right now. And that's good, because I think we need some healthy debate on this subject, because I think it's crazy. So you're probably saying, well, yeah, wait a minute, Rob, though. Like those masks are, they're surgical masks. They don't have a good seal. And, you can get in this way, and they don't have a particulate rating and everything like that. Yeah, you're right. So I agree. But are they more effective than nothing? Yes, right? So the surgical masks are one type of mask. The respirator is the other type of mask. And that's where you'll see usually the N95 rating. And it usually has a little check valve on here so that you can breathe out and not get a lot of moisture in the mask. And they're a more high quality mask, more durable, and they're just better all around, right? So they have like a little steel piece here where you can fit it to the bridge of your nose, and they're tighter fitting generally, so they do make a better seal here. They're usually like a dome shape, right? And if you've seen Batman, the what's his name, the evil guy, his villain in one of the Batman shows, he had like the same sort of thing going on. So when I wear mine on the plane, I often hear people saying, "I was born in the darkness," and I know they've seen my mask, right? I want to draw like a big happy face on my mask, I think, just to lighten the mood a little bit, and maybe I'll do that because I'm going on a trip on Monday. But anyway. So the surgical masks, are they better than nothing? Yes. Are the N95 respirators better than the surgical masks? Yes. By how much? I don't know. But probably there's nothing, not good. Surgical masks, better than nothing. 95 respirators, N95 respirators, better than surgical masks? Yeah, by probably, a fair bit, especially if you're in densely populated area. So I think that that's important. I mean, if I didn't have anything, I'd take my furnace filter and carve it up and do some duct tape over me like that, right? If I had to go somewhere where I was at high risk. So masks are obviously effective. Oh, but Rob, don't masks give you a higher risk because they're going to collect all the virus particles, and then you're going to touch it, and then you're going to stick your hand in your mouth? What about that? Because that's been on the news. you know, a lot of scary stuff going on there. No, no, like, sure, there's a chance that could happen. Just like there's a chance everything could happen. When we wear surgical gloves, generally we read the box and we take a look at, well, how should I put them on? How should I take them off to avoid cross-contamination? With a mask, same thing. I realize that millions of people now are having to wear a mask. So there's a challenge there to educate people on how to wear a mask properly and how to put it on and take it off properly. So you're not getting cross-contamination. Yeah, I get that. But we're not all idiots, right? Like, I think we can figure out that, oh, I'm wearing a mask so bad things don't go into my, you know, face. And so therefore some bad things may be on the outside of that. So I want to be like very careful how I do it with like that, right? Pull it away from my face, drop it into the bin. Then I'm going to take my gloves off after that. Then I'm going to wash my hands, right? And do whatever I can do. So people are not complete idiots. Like, sure, there is a chance that you could forget you have a mask on, touch the outside of your mask, and then do one of these, right? Sure. But the mask is protecting your face. So it's better than the chance that you're going to do that, which is super low. Like, you'd have to probably pass out on your hand or something to, you know, do that. But the mask also has been proven, and there's studies out there that show this, that it reminds you that there's something going on. It reminds you not to touch your face. So even if it's not protecting these bad particles from going into your mouth, it's like this alarm bell that's constantly ringing because it's not comfortable. It's cutting into my ears all the time. It's saying, Rob, something's going on here. I want like a quarter of your brain to be thinking about this all the time. Don't touch your face. And that's good because I'm not touching my face when I've got that on, right? So that's good. So, you know, are masks effective? Yes. Scientifically proven effective. When people say, no, they're not, yes, they are. What type of masks are we talking about? Even the worst, lamest, junkiest mask will give you better level of protection than nothing. Is there risk that wearing it is going to increase your risk? No, actually, because you're mitigating more than you're risking, right? So these super weak, illogical arguments are just driving me bonkers, as you may tell, you know, from this video. Usually I'm a little bit more happy-go-lucky than I am today because it's just so ridiculous, right? So the next argument now that's coming out is, well, don't wear a mask because it needs to be professionally fitted to your face before it can be effective. And if it's not, then, oh my God, like it could kill you. No, it won't. And no, that's not true at all. So the masks that are professionally fitted to your face are done with first responders like firemen and stuff like that. And that's only done on a periodic basis. I don't know the exact period, but I think it's like once a quarter or maybe once a year. And that's because the shape of their face may change. You may get fat or skinny or whatever else. And so they want to get it measured so that when they are in action, and that's the key word there, when they're in action, like breaking down the door, running up the stairs, saving you, right, carrying you out, they're doing this, right? They're like, you know, doing a lot of action. And that could break the seal, and that could cause smoke to go into their respirator and make them cough, go unconscious, all sorts of bad things, right? Over time, you could get cancers, all those things that they don't want to get, and their union wants to protect them from getting, and that, you know, healthcare in general wants to protect them from getting, because this is their profession, you know, they're heroes, and we don't want them to have any sort of problems. But if you're in your garage, you know, using the belt sander to sand down a couple 2x4s, and you put your respirator on, are you calling up somebody to come over and do a professional fitting of your respirator? No, it's stupid, right? Like, it's made out of rubber. It fits on your face perfectly. It makes a seal. It's good to go, right? And it's especially good to go because you're not in a burning house. You've got a little bit of sand or not sand, sawdust. And if you know, it's not that big a deal. So, and even if a little bit gets in, it's still not too bad, right? So the same thing with this, right? We don't want any to get in, But does it make the mask totally ineffective? No, no. There's a small chance that you could move your head a certain way, or that you could adjust it incorrectly, and yes, you could have a small gap somewhere, and yes, the viruses could get in through that small gap. Super unlikely, right? I mean, possible, but I don't know what the percentage likelihood is of that. But if you think about it, and this is what we need to do, we need to actually think about these things, right, before we just believe all the craziness, right? Because there's ulterior motives out there, I'm sure, why people say that, but it makes no sense, right? So having a mask that fits me is going to work really well. I'm not moving my head around. When I'm on a plane, I'm either watching TV or I'm sleeping. Either way, I'm not moving my head around very much, right? So I'm not putting out a burning house fire. So stupid argument. Cross-contamination, we talked about that. Talked about the different types of masks as well. So, yes, there's different type of masks. Different type of masks will have different effectiveness. In Asia, we see a lot of people wearing surgical masks, which don't work as good. They're more readily available. They're more cost-effective. They're more comfortable to wear. Therefore, we see a lot of people wearing them. And it's probably the only thing that's been available over there for a while, right? Depending on where you are and stuff like that. So if I was over there, if I didn't have a lot of money, if that was the only option I had available, I would be buying those and I would be wearing them. Are they the best thing to wear? No. And I think a lot of those people realize it, right? Well, maybe not, but I hope they do, right? So if you're handing out N95 masks and you're handing out surgical masks, I'm pretty sure people are going to take the N95 masks. So if there's other arguments out there that convince you not to wear a mask, let me know. There's a bunch of things going on right now, right? We think that we can stop the virus by catching who's infected. That's failing miserably in every country. So then it's a matter of, we can't contain it, so maybe we can slow it down. And how do you slow it down? Well, you have to quarantine. So you end up quarantining groups of people in their houses or homes, and when they go out, occasionally when they have to go out, they have to buy food. They're going to be wearing masks, right? So that's what we need to do to slow down the rate of infection. Why do we want to slow down the rate of infection? Because we don't want to overrun the hospitals. And in North America, it's especially fragile, right? Because we don't run a dictatorship. We can't order first responders to go to work. And if they think the risk is too high, we have the risk that they won't show up. And, I'm not saying anything bad about first responders. First responders, the best people I've ever met and fully dedicated to the cause and amazing people on so many levels. But putting them in harm's way is probably not the best idea, right? So we ought to make sure that there's masks for those people. And I think that's the real concern. And I've heard a lot of authorities say, no, it's not a problem. No, we've got lots of masks. I can't think of any other reason why we would be lying to the public then and saying that they don't need to wear a mask, because, scientific studies have shown that wearing a mask is more effective. We want to slow down the spread of this virus so we don't overload the hospitals, therefore causing doctors to make really difficult choices on triage and saying that, okay, I can treat these people because they're high risk, but I can't treat you because you're not necessarily high risk. And then as a result, having more fatalities. That's what we're facing, right? And we want to slow it down as much as possible. So that would mean working from home more, working from home as much as you can, quarantining as much as you can, wearing a mask when you go out and talk to people, not having physical contact of any type, stop shaking hands, things like that. So it's obvious, right? And of course, a lot of us don't want to do those things, and that's fine. I just had one of my trips canceled. I'm bummed out about that, but that's the world we're living in right now, right? So, and I'm not necessarily worried about myself. I'm not worried that I could be a fatality. Although, I do think about it, right? And that would suck for my family because I'm a provider for a few people. So that would be bad for them. And so I got to be careful about that. But I mostly worry about being infected and then bringing that back and infecting somebody who's elderly or who has kids at home that are young anything like that, right? That would be very irresponsible of myself, right? And so when I'm on a plane, I wear a mask for that reason. I'm thinking about the older people in the old person's home, or the senior's home is the more appropriate term for that, I guess, right? So in Washington State, it just rolled through a senior's home and it killed a bunch of people. We're at a 50% fatality rate now in that state because of that, right? So we don't want that. Jails, schools, seniors' homes, these are all high risk. Hospitals will now be high risk as well because they're not designed to be quarantine stations, right? The airflow, the pressure is not designed for that. So that's going to be a disaster if we overload those things, right? So that's why you should wear a mask. And the people that are saying don't wear a mask, I'm sorry you didn't think about buying them, right? You had your chance. You could have bought some, you didn't. And now you don't want other people to buy them? Well, that's unethical, that's immoral, and it's stupid. So, wear them sparingly. You don't have to wear them, when you're not outside with other people. If you're on the street and there's nobody around, like I go for a run every once in a while, and I'll pass people and on the trail and stuff like that. And I don't wear a mask, of course, then, because I don't want to waste them. I only have so many. But if I'm going somewhere, especially mass transit, which I don't recommend anymore, but if I'm going through the airport, if I'm getting on a plane, which I'm going to do on Monday, I'll be wearing a mask, guaranteed, no matter what you say, because I know that it's the best thing to do, scientifically proven. So for all the ridiculous out there, we got to work through that. But anyway, if you have details on whether you should wear a mask or shouldn't wear a mask, scientific studies, anything like that, that could convince me either way. Like, I'm willing to listen to anybody who has a valid argument, right? That I can't prove is false. And I wouldn't really, I'm not here to ridicule any individual or anything like that. So if you want to debate with me, happy to do that, right? And just let's be respectful with each other and be professionals. It's just really my frustration is with the authorities that are giving these messages to people that I just don't think is true. But nevertheless, let's figure this out as we proceed. So yeah, that's it for today. Safe travels, everybody, and I'll see you soon.